This is part two is continuing because YouTube just bumped me off. You know, the only reason why they do that is because you're getting into truth. So people are shitting on ones like me because we're seeing the bigger picture. People are talking about Project 25, 2025 in the States, and you're talking about this and what have you. And, you know, everything is coming to a head. People are talking about against abortions and not against abortions. You're talking about nobody's doing anything about the rights for disabled people. And you know, you fucking know this. Are you seeing everything that's going on? You know, my question is, you know, why are you not there doing it instead of expecting somebody else to go do it? Because there are people out there who are doing it and they're not even on a disability. You know, that's the problem. Everybody expects somebody else to stand up for them when you should be learning how to stand up for yourself. Seriously, people don't like me for what I'm bringing forward. That's fine. Let's go to regulations. We're talking about this, people. If you're just coming, if you're just seeing this now, it's the Weather Modification Information Act. It's on your government website. Go read it. Get enlightened instead of throwing shit on other people who are enlightened. You know, took out my camera and said that I had to delete some other videos because my camera didn't reach its limit. And then it took out my Facebook, and then it took out my YouTube. I must say, okay, I guess the truth hurts because they keep saying it's climate change, it's climate change. No, it's weather modification, and there's the information. Not only that, but there is ways to get on. There's regulations to the weather modification project report. Let's finish the weather modification information. Oh, weather modification information act. Okay, so we did disclosure. Uh, Public regulations. The governor and council may make regulations prescribing any matter or thing that by this act may be prescribed. This is like, you know, this is because offense and punishment. This is where it gets good and really interesting because you walk in the woods. You run getting a fine of $25,000, $30,000, 6 months in jail. But if you modify the weather because of failure to put everything that you're doing to cause harm to people, because that's what they're doing. They're using it for selfish reasons for themselves. And you're the one that's told that it's climate change and you're the problem. No, they are. Offense and punishment. Now, And I also have the criminal code here too, because under legal rights in section 12, this is where section 12 applies. Offense and punishment. Any person who fails to comply with any provisions of this act is guilty of an offense and liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding no more than $1,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months to both. So let's see. If you don't comply and follow the provisions, you get a maximum of $1,000 fine or a prison term not exceeding 6 months or even both. And that is causing crimes against humanity. It's causing destruction. So, hey, every time you have a flood, every time something happens, what happens? You go to your insurance company, right? And then your insurance company either covers it or they don't cover it. And then, if they cover it, then your insurance jacks up. It's the monopoly because they're all in it together. Like, well, I'm a fucking moron, right? I'm unethical. No, I'm not unethical. And I never called myself unethical. So if you go in the woods, you go for a walk in the woods, you want to get a fine of 25 to 30,000, 25,000 to 30,000 dollars for a walk. And you could go to jail for 6 months. But yet, in your criminal code, under legal rights, right here, section 12, it says, everyone has the right not to be subjected to any cruel and unusual treatment or punishment. Well, that's what's happening. It's cruel and it's unusual treatment and punishment. Especially, you go for a walk and you get penalized for going for a walk, but they can fucking manipulate your weather and cause fires for you and floods so that you lose all of your fucking livelihood. That's cruel and unusual. But I'm the fucking idiot, right? Wrong. You're ignorant in knowledge and information before you go to fucking shit on myself or anyone like me. Service or corporation, etc. or corporations. That's what we're dealing with. What is it that what business is Tim Houston affiliated with? In a course. He was first elected to the What businesses are Tim Houston connected with? Related Bermuda-based Renaissance companies while living and working in Bermuda. Houston had so Hank, somebody needs to check to see how many overseas accounts he has. Oh fucker! Oh, 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 oh. Purisite prita to isa rin tumututay. Houston worked for Deloitte, London consultancy firm. And in July 2020, Talbot staff fund Concord was Hickory Enterprise, which has been operating since 2001. Hickory Enterprise has 13 operation companies under the management. Tim Houston, Innovacorp. Tim Houston, Innovacorp. Nova Scotia, the federal government announced four designated areas for development of offshore wind. Okay. Basically, American Houston expresses claims with questions about its marriage must be 2024. And Boston Houston also visited Vanguard Renewables, company owned by the world's largest private equity firm. BlackRock! Queste caratteristiche you know, isn't there a lot of talk about BlackRock? Look at me like a fucking eat shit that shit crazy. Hey, I'd rather appear to be eating shit that shit crazy than like I said, like me. You know, he's affiliated with a lot of stuff that you people are talking that people are talking about. Has Tim Houston ever applied for weather modification? Maybe people are saying he hasn't passed the chemtrails. See dry conditions. See, the thing is, people are saying that it's the liberals doing this, but Tim Houston is a conservative, and everybody will say, "Oh, well, he's doing for the people." No, he's not. He's affiliated with BlackRock. What businesses are Tim Houston connected to? He was in a film, The Secret. See, and he even thinks that Premier Houston, this was in March, thinks Canadians should finance a new pulp mill in Nova Scotia for a multi-billionaire family. We should put the I'm saying how crooked he is, and he wants access to the uranium. Tim Houston's connection to the uranium. It's not clear, he says. They consider aerial surveillance to better understand resources. So that was June 12th. So I guess they surveyed the surveillance, and now you're not allowed to use. See, you think I look fucking crazy? Do you think I don't know what I look like? It's called energy attacks. But you wouldn't know anything about that, right? Just like you don't know anything about weather modification. Officers, etc., and corporations. Where any corporation commits an offense under this act, any officer, director, or agent of the corporation whom directed, authorized, assisted to, or executed ACQUID in the commission of the offense is a party to and guilty of an offense and is liable on summary conviction to the punishment provided by subsection 1, whether or not the corporation has been prosecuted or convicted. Subsection 1 says where any person proposes to engage in other notification activity, the person shall in such form and manner. So if they don't say that they're doing it, it's right in your face. So let's see the weather modification information regulations. Regulations prescribing the regulations and provision of information respecting weather modification activities in Canada and Canadian waters. Oh, 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 yes. What is it? Santa Marisita, tanto sola que hay. Marisita. Seriously. And I know people who would shit on people like me for saying, oh, well, I guess you don't care about the firefighters. No, it's not that I don't care about the firefighters. It's the government don't care about the firefighters. It's just trying to make people like myself feel guilty because we're saying that we should go be able to go for a walk in the woods. Go suck on your sugars and leave the big and dirty stuff to the ones that know what they're talking about. It's that part of get the fuck out of our way so we can sort this motherfucking shit out. Get the turistica mototo serei, but I'm stupid and I'm unethical. No, I'm not unethical. Maybe you're the one unethical because you think this stuff is right and it should be ignored. Why? So your life runs smoothly. Meanwhile, everybody else that's affected by it is losing their homes and property and their livelihoods. Well, stick your fucking head between your legs so you can smell your arse because Uranus is talking to you. Short title. These regulations may be cited as the Weather Modification Information Regulation. Interpretation. In these regulations, Act means the Weather Modification Information. Weather modifier means any person who engages in any weather modification activity. Agent allowed designation of administrator. The Assistant Deputy Minister, Atmospheric Environment Services, Department of Environment and designated administrator for the purpose of the Act and these regulations. So, once you put in charge this is climate change. Ela tá querendo ensinar no toshole que está querendo por que é. Right here. When are you going to wake up to it? When are you going to stop treating people like myself like a piece of shit? Oh, right. Because I guess you just want to say that you care about people. You want to say that you care about the firefighters fighting fires that are deliberate. And not only that, what creates the ability to make it deliberate is your principal. But you gotta have that fun, right? You gotta say that, oh well, because I don't go in the woods, I really don't care. But I think you guys are the ones that are the problem because you want to go in the woods and you start fires. No, we're not the ones starting the fires. We're not the ones causing the problem that's creating the fires. Hey, I know that because I'm sure it's people like myself that are going to. And that's why we don't have a lot of things because we stand up to it. stand up to the actual problem. So Greta, with climate change, did any of you realize, like, she was, she was, because it's not climate change. It's your principalities hoarding the resources and blaming it on the people. But hey, once again, you'll tell people like myself that we are the problem when we're not the problem. See, I guess on TikTok, it wasn't because, you know, it was because of the content that I was bringing forward and, the thoughts and the trolls. They didn't like what I had to say, which is really sad for you because I probably know you. So it's your assistant deputy minister. Who is the assistant deputy minister for Canada? Serge Bijamini is the assistant deputy minister of policy and transportation Canada. Myodrag Jivino, I'll put that up, is the assistant deputy minister of the Department of Finance, Transportation, Finance. Michael Zink, that's, it's got a C in there before the K, is the assistant deputy minister of the program operation regional affairs branch at Environment and Climate Change Canada. What? That is okay. So, uh, Operations Regional Affairs Branch, okay, at Environment Climate Change Canada. So there's transportation, finance, environment, climate change. They're saying that weather modification is, but they're saying that is one of the regulations in Mumbai. Stephanie Tanton is the Assistant Deputy Minister of Innovation Canada at Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada. Peter McDougall was the Assistant Deputy Minister for Global Issues and Development at Global Affairs Canada. See, assholes? And you have the audacity to say I'm doing wrong. Go collect your money. I don't give a fuck if I look retarded. You look worse than I do, thank you very much. specified in section or in Schedule 1 is hereby prescribed as the purpose of subsection 3.1 of the Act. So 3.1 of the Act, it's referring to where any persons the information specified in Schedule 1 shall be sent to the administrator by registered mail at least 10 days before the commencement of the weather modification act to which the information relates. So get the fucking fire department, a bunch of firefighters out of Nova Scotia so that you don't have the means. Aren't they saying that still in West Dalhousie that the wildfires are still going haywire? Seriously, what the fuck is wrong with that? Or do you get it? But you say, oh, it's climate change. If I'm talking to you like you're a child, or you think I'm talking to you like you're stupid, no, I'm saying you're ignorant and you're not, you don't have the knowledge, the information, you're not looking into it. So if you want to say that I'm saying because you're ignorant, I'm saying that you don't have the knowledge of what's really going on. So you're ignorant to the truth. Because even when it's right in front of your face, you still want to say it's not true. Then why the fuck do you have a government? Why are you fucking bowing down to a government and saying, oh, well, we're going to sell the list because we don't want to get $25,000, $30,000 fine and thrown in jail, when it's actually against the criminal code? You know, people say about, oh, Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe. So what's your name again so I can call you Sleepy so-and-so? Say, guys, but I like me, hate me, love me, oh, who cares? Make you laugh, make you cry, piss you off, slap me with my fucking put your head in. But that's your problem. Because if you want to do that when I'm bringing shit like this forward, just because I'm sort of an aggressive, sorry, but I ain't fucking around anymore. They like to play games. We ain't playing games. And they like to break the rules, but they expect you to abide by them. A little hypocritical, ain't it? You know, don't they say no one is above the law? Nobody's above the law, then why the fuck are you allowing them to be above the law? Oh, right, because you don't know your rights. You don't know your criminal code. Even when somebody shoves it in your fucking face, you still say, seriously. How'd Uranus ass how did Uranus's ass smell? Where a person who has provided the administrator with information in accordance with section 2 proposes to make a change in weather modification activity to which the information relates you awake yet? Where a person who has provided the administrator with information in accordance with subsection 2 describes the abandoned, the proposed weather modification activity to which the information relates. That person shall forthwith by registered mail notify the administrator of his decision to abandon the proposed activity. So they tell them when they're leaving, and then they say, "Oh, we're not going to do that right now." It was too close to getting caught, man. And I said, "You shut up." It's like, "Yeah, roll up your sleeves, everyone." Notwithstanding subsection 2, wherein the opinion of the administrator there is any reasonable cause why the information reported by the subsection cannot be provided at least 10 days before the commencement of a weather modification activity, he may, at his discretion, waive the 10 days notice period. But people are saying, oh, there's no weather modification. There's fucking information on it. And there's shit, man. And there's the weather modification information regulations. And that was CRCC 1604. Information was RSC 1985 CW-5. Where are you getting your information from? I'm getting it directly from Government of Canada. So hey, if you don't want to be like me, good, don't. Because maybe you will be with this. Because you might look retarded, but you could be saving. Records. A daily record of the weather modification activity maintained pursuant to paragraph 4.1 and of the Act shall be maintained in the form and manner set out in Schedule 2. Report. So report to be submitted to the administrator pursuant to paragraph 4.1b of the Act shall be submitted in the form and manner set out in Schedule 3, subject to such modification. For as may be necessary in order for the form to contain any information or observation specific by the administrator. So, hey, let's put a lot of and see how the environment reacts to it, and let's see how many people's lives we can destroy it, and then say it was climate change. And you got to give all this money so that we can put it towards climate change, so that we can put it into these big corporations like a pulp mill. Anybody who agrees to give the money to the pulp mill when it's a fucking big business corporation, why are you being charged for anything? You're paying for it all already. you know, according to your criminal act, under democratic rights, maximum duration of legislative bodies, and there's bodies that have been in there for 20 years. How long has Tim Houston been in government? So he's been the premier since 2021, and it's 2025 now. So he should be gone next year. So he's been Progressive Conservative Party since 2017. Shit, he should have been gone in 2022 and not able to be a part of. But wait, he was elected to represent the riding of Pictou East in Nova Scotia Legislature in 2013 and 2018. He became leader of the BC Party. Well, how are they still allowed in there? Because according to, they are the law. Is that they like to change the law as long as it works for them. But the law that's there, they don't want to abide by it, but they'll arrest you because you started in the woods across the street. No House of Commons and no legislative assembly shall continue for longer than 5 years from the date fixed for the return of the writs at a general election of its members. So if you've been in there more than 5 years, we want your resignation. Seriously, legally, you're not supposed to. So, like, you're giving all these pensions to these people, you're giving themselves raises, but you're shitting on people like me for bringing that to light. And then you're saying about people on the streets in welfare, like homeless bums in welfare. You disgust me. You're very ignorant because you're practically spit when you're not involved. The ones you put in power and keep them there because they want you to believe that they're allowed there longer than you're there because you think it's right, because they say so. Right? Don't you see that it's the same people over and over and over again, and you think they're not cheating? They're cheating just by after their 5 year term, leading you to think that they can be in there longer than the 5 years. That's how you keep, like doing that. That's how you keep from obtaining or getting the A report to be submitted to the administrative where more than one report is secret or legal debt. Reports. A report to be submitted to the administrator pursuant to paragraph 4.1 of the Act shall be submitted in the form of written and of Schedule 3, Section 2, statute modification as may be necessary in order for the form to contain any information or observation specified in the administrator. So these 5 people are in on it for sure because they are the Transport Canada, Policy of Transport Canada. They're the Deputy Minister for the Department of Finance. They are the Deputy Minister for Program Operation Regional Affairs Branch at Environment and Climate Change Canada. Assistant Deputy Minister of Innovation Canada at Innovation, Science, and Economic Development Canada. And then the other Deputy Minister for Global Issues and Development at Global Affairs. Where more than one report is submitted by the mission pursuant to the 4.1 of the Act in respect of the same, whether modification activity and any subsequent reports may be abbreviated by clear reference to any preceding reports in respect of any factual details that may be changed. Abbreviated. So that was the other thing here. Now we're going to go to the NOAA library, okay? Weather and climate collection. You know, they can produce hail the size of a fruit. They can create hurricanes, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes to go off. So it is this. But my question is, why are you like really? You know, some people make me some of some of you may be shitting on people like myself who are saying something because, you know, don't shake things up. Don't they shake things up? It's like a good sugar. It's snaps. We'll tell people like myself that we're crazy, even though we're bringing the truth to you and putting it right in your face. Still saying, no, 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 no. So if you don't believe us and you don't believe your government, but you'll vote for them, because even when a government website is put in your face, you still say, no, 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 it's good. It's not. They're doing it right in front of your face. It's a pleasure. But oh, it can't be real. They're not showing it to me on the news. You got 1 minute the thing that they bring out. And then they twist it to their narrative. because, oh, wait a minute. Because anybody who is unbiased does not pick either side. Is getting the news from both sides, all angles, right in the front and up the face. I'm glad that maybe somehow. Yes, she does. I would have to see, right? So, Kate, Houston, where's your resolution? And all the other ones. You know, you shouldn't be attention because where you actually should is money behind bars, where you're putting homeless people behind bars because they're stealing the chocolate bar or local bread to survive. You're the definition. People like you are the definition of pathetic. You're the one lacking in intelligence. Yeah, I'm getting that. And you think because you can rip people off and manipulate people that it's an intelligence. It's not an intelligence. You might see it as a skill, but it's not intelligence because you go to school to learn how to communicate. You don't go to school to learn how to be right by you. And if you did at the beginning of it, you easily thought, or do they have something? Whoa! So, how long ago did you apply for this weather modification? You know, was it for 10 days? Or, you know, two days before all fires broke out everywhere over Nova Scotia? You said 25 firefighters to me. And people say, oh, well, because you know, help. Well, we needed firefighters here because things were so bad. Who were they helping? You know what? You don't ask these questions because it's too hard to fathom. Where do you get your education? You know, yes, I learned how to read in school, and for my paralegal course, I learned how to research cross-reference. I learned how to bring things in and see the big picture. It's called, you know, connecting dots because I have three dots here connected. When in the beginning, all I had was the weather modification information app, and then Spirit brought me to the rest. So like the family today, you know, they say more security. Donald Trump, he's in real estate. Bernie is in finances. And he's a great man. He stood up for us when we had Remembrance Day and nobody was supposed to go in their uniform. He didn't fucking do shit for that. He just led you to believe that he was doing something. Because if he was really doing anything, it wouldn't have fucking happened in the beginning. So no, he didn't do nothing. And according to the criminal code, it's time for you to get the fuck out of there too, man. And all the ones that have been there over 5 years. Because it's time for new ones. And hey, maybe the track record people did get in there. You shouldn't be putting anyone in government that has any affiliation with anything that is paid through the government, or they could get money from the government. Your education. Most teachers say that anything that they have for their classroom, a lot of the stuff they have to buy themselves. So where's all that money going to? Where's it all going to? Because all the money that's brought into Canada, whether it's province or province, it all should be dispersed to the population, to the provinces, even rules and resources, because it should all go into one pot. But the wealthy won't agree with that, right? The ones that have an invested interest in it. Because they say, well, there are resources, there are resources. Well, everyone's resources. You just happen to be that it's there. It's all Canada. You know, Kearney, did you open those provincial borders yet? Like you said you were going to? Each province paying a separate tax index and everything like that. Seriously? So Nova Scotia, the Maritimes, Atlantic provinces, they hold the oldest generations, the most of the elderly people, the disabled, but they pay the most taxes. How does that make fucking sense? Please explain to me. A lower income provinces are paying more for taxes than the ones with the most resources. You have to right. And it's just like, okay, do some. You have to put it away. You better go call Pierre Public Riviere and ask them what the fuck he meant by common sense because money isn't useful. Not even here. People like to show shit. I like it. No, I'm not the one talking about gas and then saying that, oh, well, we're going to take the money that you give us, we're going to take it, we're going to give it to big corporations so that they can pay for the stuff that you're getting, and then we can make pay for it over again. Not only for pay for it through them, but also pay for it in your taxes again. So let's keep doing it. Don't say people so they oh, look at them. Oh, they're so, oh my gosh. Like, oh, all gonna stay in power because they're all fucking stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid, but they are, and they're laughing at you all the way to the fucking bed. And every time you pay in Nova Scotia 15 cents on the dollar, you know, you go to Alberta, do they have any uninspected? You say, oh, well, you know, it's for safety reasons. Is it, or is it just one massive fucking money grab all over and over again? You know, to get married, why do you need a marriage certificate? Who were they to say that you're allowed to go fucking marry her? You know, I thought that was between you and the person you're marrying and God. They charge, you get charged, they do, they charge for all the fees. This is all pertaining to everything. The manipulation in your system. And you're shitting on people like me and getting my account banned. How pathetic are you? Just because you don't like me or don't like what I have to say. The fact you deny like, fuck. And you don't talk very nice. Well, I guess I'm not sorry if it's losing your ego or it's making your spirit feel sick, because my channel is spirit to spirit. So if you're experiencing anything from it, I guess your spirit is the one I'm talking to. So if I'm not so polite and nice, I don't care if you excuse me. What is weather mod? Okay. Submission information and frequently asked questions. What is weather modification? Any activity performed with the intention of producing artificial changes in the composition, behavior, and dynamics of the atmosphere. See 15 Code of Federal Regulations 5908. Rabbit hole! ¿Quieres que te disfrute de Ashland Point? Okay, so display Title 15 up to date as of August 21st, 2025. Title 15 was last amended August 14th, 2025. View historical version. Part 908, maintaining records and submitting reports on weather modification activities. Authority published L 92-305 85 stat 735 December 18th, 1971. Source 41 FR 23394 June 10th, 1976, unless otherwise noted. 908.1 definition used as the part teams shall have the meaning ascribed in this section. Administrator of National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Ito tanisimo sa tayo sa kumain. Person, any individual, corporation, company, association, firm, partnership, society, joint stock company, any state or local government or any agency thereof, or any other organization, whether commercial or non-profit. Except where acting solely as an employee, agent, or independent contractor of the federal government. The non-profit, that non-profit, does that not include church? Weather modification activity, any activity performed with the intention of producing artificial changes in the composition, behavior, and dynamics of the atmosphere. And I'm the unethical. Just because people use big words doesn't make it intelligent. In the United States, several states, the District of Columbia, and the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, territory or insular possession of the states. United States. Persons whose activities relate to weather modification, persons engaged in weather modification activities or engaged in the detection or sale of weather modification activities or materials known by that to be designed for use in weather modification activities. It's right there, people. Holy shit, this fucking hurts. Go get a freaking language interpreter. Project, a related series of weather modification activities having a common objective. Hey, you're demonic. You got bad spirits. No, I'm going after the bad spirits. Target area. ground area within which the effects of the weather modification activity are expected to be found. You know, you want to frack in New Brunswick. Sure, we fucking do that, assholes. And you call us fucking tree huggers. Oh, the tree huggers. Hey, the greedy fuckers. Control area. A pre-selected, untreated ground around used for comparison with a target area. Hey, I must ask the military, you know, are you going to do that? This is what it's not right. Sorry. Tell me you go through psychiatric two times, and they diagnosed me as unexplained. You like didn't learn it anywhere, and I'm sort of fucking speaking gibberish like because you like there's shitballs of ancient spirits lingering around, but you won't believe that, right? You won't believe a jumper, but you'll say, demon, 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 oh that's the devil, you're demonic. Well, your system is demonic. And there's confirmation. No, I didn't say excuse me because I said there's the confirmation. Because they don't deserve an excuse. No, it's homemade coffee, and it was in my coffee pot since yesterday. Yeah, I like it. Weather modification, heritage, heritage, P or APPARATUS. Any apprentice used and people have said, why don't you stop doing your 5 hour long videos? I think you should be able to answer that question. The technical equipment or machinery needed for a complex structure for the organization system. Really, that was the one. Okay, so We'll go technical equipment or machinery or complex structure within an organization. Like, used within the intention of producing artificial changes in the composition, behavior, or dynamics of the atmosphere. For example, seeding generators, seeding generators. Why are they seeding? Seriously, why do they not allow the environment to be in its natural state? Because if it's in its, what's creating the chaos within your your climate, it's not its natural state creating. It's your weather modification that's creating, that's creating the chaos. But you still won't believe that, even though it's posted from the government themselves. You didn't see it because they didn't put it in plain sight. Well, it's called, you ever watch the movie The Santa Claus and they have the claws at the bottom and it's such fucking fine print? That's true. But they will lead you into fighting with other people to know the truth while they continue to lead you blind. And then you say you're not a sheep. I'm the black sheep that got kicked out of the herd. Hey, part of me turned into the freaking the donkey. Stubborn, but I will lead you to sleep. And the donkey will protect the sheep because the donkey protects its what it perceives to be its family. And I'd rather be an ass than the jackass that you're joking for. I could say everything else has to be misunderstood. Lisa, so, for example, seeding generators, propane devices, flares, rockets, artillery projectiles, jet engines, etc. You know what a flare is? And if you think that all this stuff like there is has to do with fucking phones and electronics, I feel very sorry for you. I really feel sorry for as some of the lightning actually man-made and directed towards specific places. The people that bought stuff on the and others on recording, and others say, "Oh, but that's AI." No, that's a lot of what we would believe that certain things are. That's why they have so much AI out there. It's an inside job. Literally an inside job. Welcome to the Truman Show. How it feel to be an actor in someone else's amusement. For me, do you know, as people have heard of Marduk, see that? So flares and rockets, so, the rockets that are going up and they're exploding, are they meant to be exploding? Seriously. Felici como out of the ordinary. Problema carissimo nutra sta na chissà la I already know that people are silent. A lot of you want to gang up on me. What's that synchronicity? Has everybody ever seen a tree shaped like that? You know, the strange thing is, down in the shed when we first moved here, I went down and I'm going in the shed. Two big beds, that big around, three, that big around, two up here, as if it was on the wall, and one down. John, it was about this. He was this. See, I didn't know when I first did that, and I did a video standing beside it and speaking in spirit, spirit language. I didn't know that was there until I stepped away and looked at the tree. Something you're wondering? Why did you put that? Because there's no such thing as Christmas, just sickness. You know, that tree was shaped like a cross. It's a crucifix. I crucify people like myself because of something. It's that part, you know, it was like when I seen that, it was like shit, Christ was showing me something. they do say that an old lady haunts the cemetery window sometimes. Sponsor, the primary person for whom the weather modification activity is performed. Who's requesting it? Who's asking for it to be done? The, re- the uranium fields around West Dalhousie, Nova Scotia. Yes, the area around East Dalhousie, Annapolis County, Nova Scotia, contains a uranium deposits, making it one of the three locations in the province selected for a recent uranium exploration request for fossils, or for proposals, RFP, issued by the provincial government in 2025 following the repeal of a long-standing uranium ban. Uranium mineralization in Nova Scotia is found in both granitote basement rocks, and younger carbon, for instance, Jurassic sedimentary rocks with occurrences in the East Dalhousie area, primarily associated with degenerate rocks. Uranium in Nova Scotia's groundwater is naturally occurring dissolved from minerals in bedrock. Bedrock types. High levels of uranium are most likely to be found in wells in areas with granite or alkaline sandstone and shale rock. They're not just after they're after everything that lifted the uranium ban in Nova Scotia. In Houston, but isn't that right? Inhaling large concentrations of uranium can cause lung cancer from the exposure of alpha particles. Uranium is also a toxic chemical, meaning that ingestion of uranium can cause kidney damage from its chemical properties much sooner than its radioactive properties would cause cancer of the bone. Hey, Now do you know why they want? I asked, is uranium flammable? Yes, uranium is flammable and pyro, liable to ignite spontaneously on exposure to air. Look at my foot! What's it on me? Everything! It spark when touched or struck. Are you kidding? It is a short motion. Highly meaning it can ignite spontaneously at room temperature when in contact with air. That's at room temperature. What will it do when it's exposed to hot temperatures? Get rid of modification, especially when in the form of powder or if heated. Ito po rin tayo sinututorial sa laki may solo ya tutorial mo kasi ay. But you'll say I'm the crazy one, right? Uranium. Even a thin layer of oxide on the surface of bulk uranium can be rapidly penetrated by moisture, which provides oxygen and hydrogen, sustaining the fire. So, because of their stupidity, you have to stay out of the woods because they want you, they want to know, and they're going to put you in the middle of it. And you would scream at people for going in the woods. You would say that they deserve $25,000, $30,000 fine or jail time. But fuckers like that, just because they didn't file paper right, well, because they didn't file paper right to do this to you, they get $1,000 fine and possibly jail. Maybe $12,000. not exceeding $1,000 and not exceeding 6 months when it should be considered crimes against humanity. And on top of that, they have a fucking ulterior motive for it. But if you did something like that, you'd be thrown in jail and they'd want to throw away the key on you. Oh, wait, they're blaming climate change. So that they don't get caught. So, excuse me to the ones who are disabled. If right now a lot of people are more focused on doing this because it's not necessarily isn't about being in the woods, but it's about saving your fucking life so they can fight for your disabilities. But right now, you've got to take on the greater evil. Not being rude. This is the reason why you're not getting for your getting help with disability or with your disability because they're putting the money into fucking modifying your weather to fucking destroy you. But I'm the crazy lady. You know, they put you in poverty and then they hand you a few dollars so that you do their fucking work. Even a thin layer of oxide on the surface of the uranium can rapidly increase moisture, which provides oxygen hydrogen to sustain fire. Corrosive nature. Uranium, metal powder, and dust are in igniting. It's like gun dust. Spontaneously in air at room temperature. Sensitivity to air moisture. Even bulk uranium metal and oxide and moisture further increases its relative potential, including to ignite. Okay? See, if they hadn't went and dig it, which, you know, people think that, you know, they were following the ban that they had on not digging in the uranium, that they followed that nobody didn't. They never stopped doing it. They just kept you amused and tell you it was climate change so that, you know, you would be afraid to go in the woods because you catch their dirty deeds. They're the ones stealing the land and getting others to do it for them because it's here. Here's a few dollars. You know you're starving. You need to pay your life bill, but you got to keep a hush on. Hazardous fight. Fires involving uranium are difficult to extinguish. Water spray, CO2, and halon are ineffective, and helium discharge can create explosive and toxic gases. So according to that, what you're seeing, the reason why they can't put these fires out and the water, big explosion. They've created a problem, and they've created it on purpose. And if they didn't create it on purpose, you better get your fucking frequencies out so that people know what it is. So who is the actually putting your firefighters, your family members at risk? It's sure not the fucking people working in the woods, but that's why they're keeping you out. You might find out what they do. They made the fucking problem, and they're trying to pin it on an external force, including yourself, because we're ignorant to climate change. No, we're not ignorant to climate change. We're ignorant to the truth. Self-ignition, ignition, under certain conditions, such as when confined in an airtight container or if it becomes moist, radium turnings can self-ignite. So the problem they created, they're suffering for it. That's why they had to bring it to the attention of the people that they are now reflecting it because they've already created the problem. And the only thing they can do now is blame it on climate change or blame it on people. Are you people really, are you sitting with this? You know, maybe some of you just come in and start watching the fucking YouTube. Go watch your news and believe that that's telling you everything. See, Spirit brought me to this stuff, and others have been bringing you forward too, but they get the same flack. Some bring it different. They say that they're after the uranium, but they were already getting the uranium, and now they're thinking, holy fuck, now we gotta keep everybody away. So water don't work to put the fires out. So why are they still using water? And then saying that the fires are still under control. And according to that, the water could be actually making it worse. What frequency puts out a fire? A frequency between 30 and 60 hertz, which falls into the category of low frequency or bass sounds, has been shown to effectively extinguish the small fires. If you use it on a massive level, like the ability that they have to use it, and they're not using it, why aren't you asking them that? Because that would be counteracting. But she'll look at me like I have 100 heads instead of 11 because oh, it's consumed. I got better things to do with my time. Then don't fucking confront me because you're friends. These sound waves, rather than chemicals or water, work by displacing oxygen around the flame and disrupting the fire triangle, which is necessary for combustion to continue. So that says it's suffocates. You think of when you take, you got a fire under stove, and you take and you put the lid on. You suffocate it. Seriously, you think that they have they have the means to do weather modification with a frequency? Oh, right, you don't even believe that there's weather and I'm doing it too. I'm the crazy one. I'm the retarded one. I'm the idiot. Meaning of idiot. Such a stupid person. A person of low intelligence. But it's actually lacking in knowledge. Because a person could be a very intelligent person, but lacking knowledge in a specific area. Gratuito sin recognition. Niskututo yesununtai. So you condemn me and crucify me because I'm different and don't fit in with the narrative because you can't comprehend because you look like this before. Yes, I was, but I got told not to do this. Power sound waves disrupt the fire triangle. Fire requires three elements: heat, fuel, and oxygen. The low frequency sound waves create pressure waves in the air that pushes oxygen away from oxygen displacement. By ending the concentration of oxygen in the immediate vicinity of the flame of the fire, the flame is deprived of necessary fuel for combustion. No water evaporates. This method is distinct from traditional extinguishers because it does not involve water or chemical agents, offering a clear approach. See, it says about the technology is small. But see, the thing is, that's what they're leading you to believe it because it is able to do it on a massive scale. It's not like they don't have the big speaker because they're dropping it on you all the time. It's not, and it's going through light sockets. It's going through electronics. It's going through plugins. It's going through phones. But it's not the good kind. It's the hum that makes you sick. Why do you think Thomas Edison didn't want to use Nikola Tesla's stuff? But people say, oh, well, that's not really fucking right. Here you are. I want you to believe it's not. Seriously. Take, for instance, you have to go to the hospital, okay? You go to a hospital for something, but when you get there, you always feel worse than when you first went. What that is. Seriously. They made Wi-Fi available to everyone. Why do you think they did that? It wasn't for your convenience. What you think it was? No. Some of you even go in and sign up into it, which gives them access to your phone. You go in there and you sit in a waiting room in the emergency room, and all they have on is you. See the lights. You're sat there. Seriously. Tesla invented stuff, but not the way you're using it. Do you ever notice they tell you loud noises will cause hearing loss, but yet when they put you in an MRI. Bang, 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 ding. Right. That's environmental. So they're doing it right in front of your face. They applied to do that. You get in an MRI. Wee, 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 wee. That's going through your fucking body, and it actually puts your body at a disease. How many people, like, you can be claustrophobic? How many people are not claustrophobic, but once you get in one of those machines, it's like you just, it's almost like you feel like you're going to panic, and they give you a dye, which actually draws it in to get a clearer picture to the point where, you know, you feel so hot that it feels like you got hot heat coming. Oh, well, that's good. No, it's because it's environmental. That's still part of, like, a form of modification. Human DNA modification. See, I'm going to say, it's got stuff on some toes, but the needles we get, you could take a healthy person, very healthy person, and then all of a sudden they get a certain needle, and they're no longer healthy anymore. How is that beneficial to the healthy body? But because I said that, you know you're sick. It's still environment. It's your internal environment. It's your environment, whether it be on the exterior or the interior. The weather affects your body physically, mentally, emotionally, and we'll say spiritually because it's the connection. You feel what others feel. People are in poverty. People have their houses gone because, this bullshit with fire. You're feeling for them, right? That's an environmental offset. It's the effect. You're feeling it. Thank you, Steve. Human DNA Modification Act says there is no single human DNA modification act, but Canada's Assisted Human Reproduction Act of 2004 criminalizes human germline editing.
Oh, oh, God! Whoa! Oh, shit, man!
Oh, fucker!
Whoa, baby! Do you see? Hey, this applies to gender modification. Ah! Whoa! Ah! I'm not sorry for this. If you people don't fucking get it, then you better get it soon. Woohoo!
Eu não queria assim do bem, acho que vai. Modification of human cells that could be passed to descendants. In Canada, making such heritable genetic changes is illegal and punishable by fine and imprisonment. And then says, however, some Canadian researchers and organizations are advocating for a renewed and update of the assisted human reproduction to permit research into gene editing technologies like CRISPR for understanding and treating genetic diseases. What do I think about this? Enlil and Lukuy, Luktu, Bursama. Do any of you realize that when you're seeing the Egyptian building, you think that it is your history? It's actually your future. And this is where it's from. Maybe, like I'm not saying there are others out there, but it came from a mutation, but not in the way that you thought it is when they started splicing human DNA with animals. What will you do with that? How do you think you got half human and half horse? But you'll say that's me. That's not real. You're fucking right. It's real. People say the Greys come to tell you the same stuff, but some of the Greys are the ones that are manipulating so within your system. Then there's the ones that are manipulating your environment because it's conducive to their environment. People say certain individuals, because they look different, is an abomination. How do you know CRISPR wasn't? They're not the abomination. The system that created them. By trying to manipulate someone's DNA is not the way to resolve diseases. Diseases are profitable for them, so why would they want to be fixing them? It's another part of the environment. Modification. And I'm unethical because I'm raffling off a diamond necklace and a diamond bracelet. And because of the amount of money I'm going to get people with this book, I'm told I'm unethical because I'm doing it to get the funding so that I can finish paying off the remaining fees to bring my invention, spirit invention, to life because you know we live in a world of nothing being free. You know, if they're manipulating DNA, they're not making them smarter. They're trying to make them less intelligent so that you don't have that. What the Assisted Human Reproduction Act prohibits. The act makes it a criminal offense to alter the human genome, genome, genome in a way that can be passed down to future generations. You know, when you're transitioning gender modification, you're actually screwing with your DNA, and you're actually passing it. But I guess you don't care. You're not giving yourself. That's what's happening. What you do to your body is your business. But the ones doing it are using you as an experiment. And you wonder why there's medical issues, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, just a lack of connection. Gender, it's like we're uncomfortable in our own skin. And you figure because of how you feel, you're supposed to look a certain way. What it is because you're remembering what you are. What did the last time you felt before you are back? If you laugh at it, but all of what they're doing now is what changed your environment. Your environment is what's creating the diseases. Is it something that's transmitted from person to person, or is it actually something that's transmitted through air? You say sexually transmitted diseases, but is it something that you originally got infected with through the air and it just manifested? Was it genetic DNA altering because it took certain noodles, took something from other species? But you'll say, no, that's not real. Are you sure about that? Are you really sure about that? Or did you just get it from fact check? You're saying in your school, it was going around in your schools, kids were wanting to use litter boxes. Your school teachers are just as manipulated as you are. That's changing. It's a modification. It's environmental, whether it's out here or in here. It's still your environment because you have to live in yourself. You have to live in your environment. But I don't know. I do know how to understand. This includes all three germinal cells, which are sperm, eggs, or embryos. Suck it! Shoot, shoot, shoot. See? prohibitions apply even to non-clinical research. You know, people aren't allowed, like, they won't legalize for to use as a prescription. They won't make it a prescription for CBD or THC, CBD, because, you know, it's used for many things. And I know THC is, but CBD could use it. They won't cover CBD, a natural, but they'll cover synthetic. Violating the AHRA can lead to criminal charges, including fines of up to $500,000 and or imprisonment for up to 10 years. So these doctors, I will be honest, these doctors that are going in and they're manipulating 15-year-olds' DNA and younger and everything like that, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Seriously. You say the parents allow it? Well, you know, shouldn't you have both parents on board with it? Because one, if one objects, then you should be going through with it. The 13-year-old's brain is still developing. The body is still developing. This applies to you. And you know, I'll tell you right now, any parent who agrees to it, maybe you're rude. Not being rude. I understand you want to do right by your child, but that's not doing right by your child. When your child goes into 25 years is when they are done usually developing mentally and physically. You know, you get one narrative from things, and then you don't get the rest of the information out there. You just figure everybody should just comply to it. No, what you're doing is destructive, and I don't know what fucking court or whether or not American. Calls for reform. Canadian scientists and groups like the Canadian Institution of Health Research have requested a review of the AHRA. They argue that the potential benefits of gene editing technologies such as CRISPR for treating genetic diseases and satisfying reproductive research are too significant to ignore. You know, genetically modifying is what's actually causing the disease because you're putting things into somebody else's body that don't agree with what your test subjects agreed with. You're using zoology. Is that not going against natural? It seems to me like more people are getting sicker from this stuff than what it's actually helping people. Like, I'm just a fucking moron, which I'm not. Your things don't move, and they keep you distracted thinking it's something else when they're actually the ones creating it. The U.S. also has laws like the one passed in California targeting biohacking, which makes it illegal to sell CRISPR kits without proper warnings about their safety or self-administration. Do you know when they take blood from you, are they like because they do these testing and it's your genetics, like you look into this stuff. And right here it says written consent in 5. It is prohibited for any person who is engaged in any activity described in the paragraph to see in respect of individuals who correct lose or disclose the results of the genetic test of the individual without the individual's written consent. You give someone would say you give informed consent if you would get your blood work done. Okay. See, my question is why do they keep them? Why do they take so much when it takes so little to do a test? I know I was doing a different rabbit hole, didn't I? But this is weird where spirit is bringing me to because it's putting it all into a bigger picture for you because not only is it modifying your weather, your environment, but also your physical internal environment because you're still using technology, equipment. Just checking something. Okay. Operator is primarily responsible for carrying out the weather modification activity. Amended June 22nd, 1981. Right. Person subject to reporting. Any person engaged or intending to engage in any weather modification activity in the United States shall be subject to reporting provisions. Oh, this is the United States. This would be the United States. Yes, this one's the United States. Okay. So we're going to go to and back here. Weather modification project reports. What is weather modification? I read that. An activity performed with the intention of producing artificial changes in composition, behavior, or dynamics of the atmosphere. So that could be either exterior or interior, which, they'll say, well, that doesn't apply, well, yeah, it does. C-15 Code of Federal Regulations, because what you do out there is what happens to the person in here. You fact that there it affects in here. Que le toque de absoluto connexion again. Federal regulations that are starting for what is considered weather modification. What role does NOAA play in weather modification? This is for states. Companies that intend to engage in weather modification activities within the United States are required by the Weather Modification Act of 1976, 15 Code of Federal Regulations 5908 to provide a report for the administration of NOAA at least 10 days. So it's very similar. Canada. So, hey, if you're in the States, it's freedom of information. Now we're back to the main page. It may have seemed like I got off on a tangent, but that's for sure because it's all pertains to the same experiment. So you expect like with certain things because the environment, you expect everybody else to conform to what you do. If you want to affect your body, whether it is good or bad, that's up to you. By ignoring this here, you're ignoring the truth because they are affecting your environment on every level. Some say, like people say about the earth, some say the earth is flat, some say it's round. It's actually a spiral. Your vertebrae, you know, Jacob's ladder, going up the different levels to get to the heaven. Get not the cancer from the if it keeps your body affected, keeps you stressed, where are you at? You're in a low state. You're in a low vibration. Your body is sluggish. You tend to have low vibrational food, more food that's going to make you sick. I've been binging on freaking plain chips. Like, but maybe it's that part of my body. Maybe it's holding the grease that's in it and the salt. See, all these words are trying to shame people about wanting to rock and roll. It's saying that, you're like doing that, you're putting our firefighters' lives in danger. No, it's not those people that are putting your firefighters and family members in danger. It's the ones you have wounded with COVID situation because they're all in bed with one another, including with all the corporations because they are the corporations. If it's not the corporations, they're the corporations' bosses. They're the blackness, but they're just as much to blame because they're agreed to, whether it's because of money or because they got something on them. Seriously, the premier is very connected and affiliated to BlackRock, the very company that people are saying owns the biggest majority of shit. But my channel would be like this misinformation. It's not. You know, it's like somebody having a job. You criticize somebody for sitting at home doing this stuff and saying they don't have a life and they're a fault, but because they're not getting paid for what they do. Or is it because they're trying to figure out why the world seems so fucked up and they want to actually help civilization? say it is what it is. It only is what it is because you believe it is that way. What you believe is what you're going to receive back. What you put out is what you're going to receive back. I believe that society is going to come together and realize what is happening. You want to scream about your rights, but you're giving rights away because you're not making them responsible for their stuff. Because they keep saying, here, we'll give you a few dollars, just keep your trap shut. But we're doing this. Meanwhile, they're doing this big thing behind your back and saying, fuck, you're stupid. So if my 5-hour videos irritate you, well, then you don't have to be here. Because there are people that it don't irritate. And you know the ones that you're speaking truth about. They get really irritated. I'm just trying to comprehend and understand their inner spirit. How people are on things and why they're just treating them eye to eye and backing a system that's stealing from you and saying, no, it should climate change. Well, if it was natural climate change, you wouldn't be able to fucking change it anyways. So the money in climate change won't fucking happen. If it's weather or it's weather modification, they're running the narrative and you're paying them to do it. You put thousands and thousands of dollars into a government where nothing ever gets done really for people. Just, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then they do a little spell. And then the opposing team will say, hey, you know, we're going to fight you on this. What do you fucking think you're fighting back and forth? Hey, Pierre and Kearney, nothing rude, you know. Pierre has his hand in the oil. has his hand in real estate and finances. Pierre has his hand in real estate. He wants to drill a baby drill. See, I see both sides, and there's things that I would not just those two, but from the other contenders, whatever. Each party has something useful in it, but they don't know how to, well, they know how to work together to manipulate, but they don't know to pull things out from each side because it makes sense to them. But, you have people that want to give us all this, you want all the influence and everything going on, and you not have you not avoid paying taxes. So if they're paying taxes, how exactly are they illegal? What, because they don't have a certificate, a paper saying, hey, you're legal, but they, as long as you're here, we'll make it legal that, you pay into our income tax system and then we work with you that way. But the minute you become a problem for us, we're going to say you're illegal. You didn't like collecting the money, right? And I know people say, well, for the immigrants, they're putting out that, these, the government will pay a percentage of the wages for these other people who hire them. Why are you blaming those people? Why are you not actually got your eyes on the real problem? It wasn't about bringing people in. That wasn't the way they were trying to deal with each other. It was bringing people in and saying, hey, we're going to help these people and not our own people just so we can get a war. And then you can't kick us out of government. The fuck we can't. Because your wars are committed, you're committing those wars are the crimes against humanity, war crimes. Treason on your people. That's why you're doing it, so you can stay in power. You're the reason why people need to change. You're puppet is economic. I want to see the people that actually want to do something and say, hey, fuck, we're going to override you, we're going to do like good things socially for the people and include everybody in it, whether you say they're illegal or not. They're still paying into the tax system. So that hits them too. And it's divided equally. Not this going here and that going there. Well, why are you getting more than us? They should connect with the intellectual clear. You have a problem with including everyone? It's like a bunch of kids on a fucking playground saying, I was making your hair.
You got lazy, they can't. Do you know their parents' financial situation? Do you know what's going on at home? The children is in no, I just had to learn about even though I didn't really criticize people, I just thought it was true. And do you think it didn't embarrass me? You know, maybe for some people the situation is how you just really you start to get shit so that we can say or really good, whether with another country or a city. So you're fighting over the truth because others are saying that, you know, that another person is not real, but it's right here. You can't go on the website that it is real. It says that you're not very right. What the fuck do you think that is? Oh, I think it's your Heck no. I'd rather be hated than live in the world of freaking belief. The curse was the denial of not being able to see truth, even though it felt good not knowing the truth. But the true curse was not knowing, because once you know, that's when you begin to truly, really get healed physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually with the connection of everything. I think it's a terrible word. Don't say spirit. If I make up and someone's demons, oh, wait, is a demon not like a fucking spirit? You know, like I got irritated because I hate walking on a fucking road. You have more of a chance of getting hit by a car walking on the road than what you really have on sidewalk. And you can't tell. So if people don't want to face this truth, even though it's there, and you don't want to face the truth of Section 12 in the criminal code and the legal rights of the fine that they're giving you, because it's much more of a fine than what they give somebody for not filling out the documents properly. It's cruel and unusual treatment of education. What is the government doing to put out? Because hey, didn't they do didn't like they've been doing this fire thing for a long time, and didn't they very much includes like to really sit back and take this in. It's like the movie The Matrix. The guy was in there because he wasn't having a fancy food. He had to like strict. He would have rather been back in the Matrix having fancy food with Mr. Smith than actually sticking it out, because that's that part where you're working outside the system because you're trying to change a system that people say is broken. You can't have something broken if it never worked to begin with. That's why so many things are falling apart, because it was designed to work over and over and over again, because it's the monopoly of the money, the exchange. This keeps you weak on edge, thinking, oh, like we have the threat of Aaron, Hurricane Aaron. What do people do then? They figure, we got a hurricane coming, better go load up on everything. There's more money, more credit debt, because you don't have the money to go buy what you figure you need because of. So as long as you line your pockets and you obey, it's a gift today. Spirit to spirit. See, the thing is, it was a year of problem child. But see, the thing is, let me use something as an example, because I can relate this. It's Costco, and I went to get my glasses 5 times. I went in about the same pair of glasses. And I kept telling them, there's something wrong with the prescription. There's something wrong with the prescription. No, the progressive. You gotta use it. I had fucking progressive before that, and I didn't go for that. So the fourth time I went in, I told them they're not like. So I told them, oh, well, you gotta use it. So what I ended up doing was put my old glasses on, and I went to another eyeglass place, and I had them look at my glasses. See, each time I went into them, I said, the problem child's here. My glasses still aren't right. So when I took them back in, I said, I guess I'm not the problem child. You're only a problem child when you stand up to the actual problem. So, hey, Chucky, let's get it together. Let's think about that. So let me get going there. I know someone who, like, we used to say, we just never Chucky. Child's play. But it's not playing with innocent people. And it's not playing. I was here one day, and I channeled Constantine, Constantine. And I recall back a year or two ago, somewhere around there, I was watching a video with regards to Putin. And a lot of people had said that Putin sort of, or he said one time about like Constantine. Didn't Constantine go to Jesus for help? You know, people are saying, "Oh, you're on biblical stuff." No, I'm questioning the system because in that time it was that part of the system which we're living in right now. Except you see it as being more modern. See, people think that this here stuff is just going on now, and some people are still in denial of it, saying it's not going on. But it actually is, and it's right in your face. Only they're telling you that you are committed to the problem. No, they're a problem to the system because you're going to see something they don't want you to see. There's also people who believe it, but there's also a lot of lab experiments. You know, people are going to say that it's universe and it's like right out there because you haven't experienced it or seen it. You know, my account got my TikTok account got suspended, or not sorry, not suspended. It got permanently banned because of this, and people think it's funny. And you say that we don't have a heart because we're like we're in the wrong because we say that the firefighters are jeopardizing human life for political financial gain in the political system. you have like all the fucking age to go or you think it's okay. And then people say, I'm the opinion, I that only my opinion matters. No, I listen to everybody else's opinion because I'm speaking mine. You don't fucking like it. And it's not just my opinion, it's what you show. You know, these $25,000, $30,000 fines, don't your police officer and your RCMP and the things like that, don't they have something better to do with their time than being told you got to go write somebody a fine because they walked in the woods? Why not catch the ones who's actually setting the fire? You know, you're saying about all this stuff happening, kids going missing, people being trafficked, whether sexually or enslaved to a system. Ahorita lo hicimos, ¿verdad? ¿Y qué tú por aquí haciendo?
It is, right? It's just
Well,
on the site, government of Canada, and it's under Justice Law's website, and it is called What I Want to Do Information.
that's why my
So,
TikTok account got
right
banned.
here, I will tell you the website is right? It's part of, I told you this, was another one of but there's part of information, right? And you will see at the bottom that this here
There's misinformation there. Any person who fails to comply with any provision of this act is guilty of an offense and liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $1,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months or both.
6 months. Prison, jail. But see, for you hiking or biking in the woods, you get a fine of 25 or 30,000 dollars. And also, it's going to have to do 6 months jail. Somebody hiking and biking gets fined and charged more than the ones manipulating the weather that's really worth. Are you getting that message? You know, hey, 1985, I'm not being rude, I'm just asking where you think we're talking the truth. What it really is, people just break your face, but, you know, they don't do that because they don't want you to know about it, not they just go on with that. I'm going to go back and read it. And I encourage you to too. And then I encourage you to go to your government and start asking your Nova Scotia and other provinces, you know, Canada, other states where, you know, you have all these forest fires spontaneously erupting. But they'll tell you it's behind this thing. The weather conditions are the way they are right now because of this. And you have to know why are they doing it? Because they can modify the weather. They can, like, it could be raining right now. Why do you think that, you know, they got to go to work on? Why do you think that PM for Nova Scotia didn't get it? It's saying we've got sick of things. If it's really difficult to start or if it's possible that it's afraid that people will get caught for using weather modification or weather manipulation. Those are the things we can see. And those are the things we need to go through. Hey, it's not coming from me, it's coming directly from the government. So we get a full so that they take you to the church. Good boy. But if you're not going to take the time, then I suggest you keep that shot about hikers and bikers. People going on bicycles. Don't smoke. Common sense like don't smoke. Whether it's this type of weather or not, you just don't smoke. I'll post the website.
That was what got my TikTok channel banned. Everything else was more fine. I could, like, you know, say that Donald Trump was sucking pee or anything like that. I could say anything else, like, I mean, literally curse and swear and everything worse than freaking sale. And I got banned for that. And it's not misinformation.
laugh and think, well, that was okay. Why? Because you don't like what I have to say. Don't watch my fucking channel. It's as easy as that. But I do appreciate the comments that people make because you know, now you know how much you do watch my channel. See, maybe TikTok got irritated with me because I would ask for, I would ask people to share, I would ask for gifts, I would ask for followers or subscribers. So I wasn't profitable to a system. Or, you know, maybe they had a shadow account and took everything that was actually happening, what I was actually getting. Because it was really strange. Because there'd be all of a sudden people would just come and come and come and come, and then all of a sudden it's like it stopped. Just saying. But my TikTok because I did not give any misinformation. And that was the one that caused it to be banned. So, you know, I did say like Tim Houston and all this like he just saying, man, coincidence? Yeah, I don't think so. Especially at the bottom where I say, what are you gonna do when the truth comes out? Which really hurts people from coming out to the point where, you know, you're under your strikes. Oh, oh, shut it down, shut it down. You can't let it, you can't touch it. I want to see other people. You know, people that are talking about weather modification. Why don't you stick that up on your site? It's like you plaster it. You know, the way to achieving what it is that you're trying to achieve. It's by speaking your story, what you experience from these systems. And I'm not just talking one or the other, because you might have had a good experience with one, but a fucking really shitty experience with another. Because it's truthful, there's no overload system. And then it will bring the truth of the system into the light. There's people who are afraid of that. Even people who aren't in the system, but have been exposed to it. You know, it's like, okay, you're not a sinner. They say you live in sin. You live in a system that has been integrated into society, but
that you live under the system, and that's your pyramid. It's much like the fire that we're talking about with regards to the frequency. You put you put flame in, which is us back and forth, like flight. That's the point. Right? And the fuel is what is the propaganda of everything being all stirred up and everybody fighting with one another. That's the flame. The frequency that you're sending out, that's the disruption. So it's like the oxygen, and you put it all together like the fire, like the flame. And what do you have? You have a place of fire that has a light, right? So how do you counteract that? You counteract it with a different frequency that will, I mean, not like it's, you have the flame, inner flame, because everybody's shaken up. That truth is coming out everywhere. But it's also being stirred up in what is classed as chaos, which chaos is actually the fucking great granddaddy. Ah, asshole! Come on, that's why I look at the outside of the still. You know, was the other birth of chaos or chaos son, which would be the grandfather. Because chaos is the grandfather, great grandfather. Chaos is what you're living in right now. You're actually, it's like you're living in the black hole, which is the astral of the universe, which would be your limits. So let's push the gas out. You know, you farted out your ass. You know, there's Uranus. The system represents the fake fault. It's not the creator of the entire creation. It is the creator of a system, and then the son of that system is the creator of another system. So that's where you get the shadow. One over trying to, when you look at, okay, take for instance, you look at Thomas. Okay? It says that Jesus said, and I know it's getting a bit biblical, okay? But in there it said that Jesus said, blasphemy the Father be forgiven. Blasphemy the Son be forgiven. But blasphemy the Holy Spirit, and you won't. The Holy Spirit is considered everything. Light, sound, wind, earth, fire, its existence itself.
When Jesus is said to be preaching, it's to respect the human life. Chaos holds and holds the children back, okay? Because it keeps them all in a constant frenzy loop, okay? It's like people get bloated in the belly, okay? You have a baby in the belly, okay? Chaos has that big ball and won't allow the mother to give birth. I heard much like the belly of the beast, yes, because that's where you feel the irritation of where you hear it. So you get that calming. And as you release things and you feel it, that calming starts going away because you're exposing that beast. And the system is the beast. And then when we live under the system, we become part of that beast because we don't see the light. Because it's so far hidden down into Pandora's box. Because the truth is considered. And when you bring stuff like this forward, you're a threat to the structure of the system, to the system itself. See, like witness and scream, like the way you see it, that's the pain that the system, it's like the system is in that pain and it's releasing it. That the cry of the banshee that's releasing out onto the people. It's like the rope, it's like puke coming out. It's like locusts. It's like fucking insects all just flying out. The evil is coming out. This is what TikTok wants to what has took away from me. And it's not misinformation. So the ones that thought it was funny that I found them, it's not me that don't care. Because I'm the one who exposed it. Give me the leadership and yes,
They're using it. And you want something to see. People bring God and say, why is God allowing this to happen? God ain't allowing it to happen anymore. God comes to others. Sometimes you just don't have to listen to their voice. So okay, I'll continue. Because then whether you agree. It's that part of I'm not trying to add to just stop the place for dying. It's up to you what you do with that information. I don't want to be able to do it. So with that being said, is in your much love like many want you all to be good, like you simply be yourself. Be authentic self. Be true to yourself. Be true to others. Be kind to yourself and others. Be authentic and know that you have more strength than you can comprehend. Your voice is your power, but they led you to believe